Hello, everybody, and welcome to our celebration stream. I am your host, Fellow Traveler, and today we will be discussing a very special topic that is dear to my heart. It involves dieting, exercise, and building the body of your dreams. And I'm going to help you guys get there. I'm going to show you the shining path to build the greatest body that you can possibly build so that we can train an army of swole commies to challenge the capitalist system. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. If this stream drops at all, know that it is the CIA trying to keep me from lending you guys some very useful information on diet and exercise. And if the stream drops, I will try to get back online as soon as possible. We have a new internet service now, so I hope that this is not a problem. So let me get my Word document up. Okay, so why work out? Why get into training? Why lift weights? Why do cardio? Why exercise? Well, there are very obvious health benefits that come with it. If you are a person who takes good care of your body, you eat the food that you're supposed to eat, you train the way you're supposed to train, you do regular cardio, you will live a very long, healthy life. You will be at a lower risk for diseases across the board. You will have a very healthy immune system. I mean, look at me. I got the fucking coronavirus, and it was nothing more than a minor sinus and throat infection. So, I mean, that's just a personal testimony on how healthy my immune system is. All my blood work is great. I mean, I've been to the hospital. I've had physicals. I'm in great health. So there's also performance benefits as well. You'll be able to move more weight, run faster, jump higher, and do math better than the average person. Even if these things aren't really pertinent in your regular everyday life, if you are into sports, any fitness or any coach will tell you that resistance training is the fastest and most convenient and effective way to improve your performance in the gym. And then there's, improved self-image. It builds confidence. It builds belief and faith in oneself, and basically your ability to accomplish and achieve goals. It improves confidence. So if you've got self-esteem issues, it can help with that. It can also help with depression. It can help with mental health issues as well. So if you've got some mental health problems, it's sort of like the tool that the wolf you feed. Like you've got the wolf, the bad habits you can feed, where you drink and do drugs, and you do hedonistic shit to compensate for deficits in your personal life, or you can take the higher path and self-improve, and this is one of the ways that you can do it. Some of the best lifters on record have had mental health problems, like George Lehman. He can pull 900 pounds, deadlift 950 pounds, and the thing that he taps into is the fact that if he thinks in his mind, if he can bring his father back by pulling this weight, he'll do it. So, you can use it to stimulate you to push yourself. And then finally, you look good naked. If you want to be more appealing to the opposite sex, or the same sex if you swing that way, one of the fastest ways to do it is to lose fat and gain muscle. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. What are your goals? Let us talk about your goals. We are going to discuss a tale of two bodies. A tale of three bodies, actually. So, which one of these do you guys look like? And we are going to talk about what you need to do depending on what you look most like. Are you just really, really skinny? Are you skinny fat? Or are you just fat? In each of these cases, the three of these men are carrying very little muscle mass, and they're either carrying no fat, some fat, or a lot of fat. Well, let's go ahead and start with this guy, the Auschwitz escapee, all right? He just needs to gain weight. He just needs to lift weights, eat in a calorie surplus, and gain muscle, all right? This guy over here, he just needs to diet. He needs to eat less, quit being, quit being so sedentary. He needs to pick up more, pick up the weights, do more cardio, and focus on losing weight. You'll still gain muscle if you're fat. Even if you're this heavy, you'll gain muscle because your body has the calories to spend. So you'll be able to gain muscle even if you eat in a fairly deep calorie deficit as a fat person. In fact, you can lose weight relatively quickly in the stages of obesity, like the obesity stages beyond 20% body fat, and be well. And then you have this guy. We'll talk about this guy later, but he needs to lose fat and gain muscle, and I will explain how to do that later down the road. And I just want to lay out right now that everything I'm about to discuss with you guys are things that you can do if you are female. None of this is exclusive to men. Women can follow all of this advice and get favorable results as well. Okay, so let's talk about dieting to lose fat. You need to eat a moderate calorie deficit. The harder you cut, the hungrier you will be, and the more your performance in the gym is going to suffer. So you want to cut just enough to where you're losing weight at a reasonable pace, but you don't want to cut super fast because, yes, you'll lose weight faster, but you also risk losing muscle the faster that you cut. And why would you want to lose muscle? Muscle is what makes you look good when you finally get lean. It's what speeds up your metabolism. It is what, contributes to your performance in the gym. You work hard for that muscle. It's hard to build muscle. So you don't want to cut too fast. You want to cut reasonably quick. That way, you can lose weight in a reasonable amount of time, but you don't want to lose weight super fast. So I would say, we're going to get to the BMR and TDE calculator in a moment, but first off, avoid meme diets, guys. Don't do the dumbass keto or carnivore diet, or really even vegan for that matter. Like, all these diets, they're meme diets. Just eat a healthy, balanced diet with lots of fruits and vegetables and lean meats. Cut out any and all processed sugar and saturated fat. Keep your alcohol consumption to a minimum if you're a drinker, and you'll be fine. You'll be healthy. You don't need to follow any stupid dumbass diet and like meme diet that's unsustainable. Like, none of these diets are sustainable. For one, you've got keto, where you eat really high fat, really low carb, and then moderate protein. The reason why it's not sustainable is because, sure, you lose weight quickly, but it's water weight that you're losing quickly because you're depleting your muscle stores of glycogen. So on a ketogenic diet, you're depriving the body of carbohydrates, which is the body's main fuel source. And when you deprive the body of its main fuel source, you are going to suffer performance-wise in the gym. And if your goal is to gain muscle and maintain muscle on a cut, you don't want your performance in the gym to suffer. So, and not just that, but you're going to get tired of eating keto. You're going to get tired of eating carnivore. You're going to get tired of eating vegan. You need a variety in your diet, and none of these are particular diets that like the majority of the population can keep up with in the long term. And that's what you guys want to do, is play the long game. Eating a balanced diet where you get everything that you need is the most sustainable. It's the healthiest. Like, you'll be all right. You'll be good. So with that being said, you're going to want a high focus on fiber, protein. You're going to want to have a minimal fat intake and a minimal intake of processed sugar. So what does this look like? Vegetable soup, baked potatoes, egg whites, fish, lean cut of steak. What else? Cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is a favorite of mine. Mixed vegetables like broccoli. You guys can figure this stuff out. There's diet guides online where you can look up recipes and so on. I'm not really going to discuss recipes here for brevity's sake, but lots of beans, lots of greens, and lots of lean meats. That's what you're aiming for when you're just trying to purely lose weight. All right. So there are 3 macronutrients and 3 macronutrient ratios that you must be concerned with depending upon your goals. But for the goal of purely trying to lose fat, you are going to, what I recommend is 30% of your calories comes from protein, 55% from carbohydrates, and 15% from fats. So the reason why you want a relatively high protein intake on a cut is because it makes the likelihood that you will lose muscle while dieting nullified. You are statistically way less likely to lose muscle. All the studies across the board show to diet, it has the most muscle fat. You want your fat intake to be relatively low, and the fats that you do consume should be a byproduct of your protein and carbohydrate intakes. So let's go ahead and go to the TDE calculator. Actually, we'll start with BMR. BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. I've showcased this calculator on a previous live stream, and this calculator will show you basically what you need to burn in a day to stay alive. So, you know, age 26, 5'11". Right now I'm weighing about 204. For me to stay alive, I need to burn 1,927 calories. And consequentially, these are the exact same amount of calories I'd be burning if I were lying in bed all day doing absolutely nothing. These are the calories your body needs to burn in a day to reproduce itself. And then it goes to show you what you actually burn depending on your activity levels. So sedentary, sitting around, you might work a desk job, you might walk around here or there, you'll burn about 2,300. If you do a little bit of exercise during the week, you'll burn, at my weight, you'll burn 2,600. But I mean, I generally exercise on a daily basis, so I burn closer to 2,800 to 3,000 calories a day. So that is what my maintenance would be, is about roughly 3,000 calories. So for me to lose weight at a rate of about 1 pound per week, I would have to be in a caloric deficit of 500 calories per day. That means consuming 500 calories less than what I need to maintain my current body weight. So there's 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. You can increase this or decrease this as you like, but just know that the faster that you cut, the worse your performance in the gym is going to be. Now there is an exception to this rule. If you're very high body fat percentage, you can afford to consume even fewer calories than that, because your body has the surplus energy stockpiled in the form of your big belly and your jelly rolls. So your body's going to tap into that to fuel your workouts. So feel free to lose weight at a rate of 2 to 3 pounds a week if you're over 20% body fat. But once you go below 20% body fat, you're going to want to lose the weight slower. And the leaner you get, the slower you're going to have to lose the weight in order to maintain performance in the gym, and the more difficult and grindy the cut is going to become. And I know this as someone who's cut and gotten fairly lean before. Anyways. So next up, let's go ahead and move on to dieting to gain muscle. So the first guy, Skeletor here. Skeletor here needs to focus on gaining muscle, all right? Land Whale, we've already been through his guide. Just consume fewer calories, increase your activity levels. Eat less and exercise more. That's what it comes down to. Now we have Skeletor over here, the Auschwitz escapee. He just needs to eat more. He needs to fucking up the calories. And you've got these guys who love to brag about their fast metabolism. Oh, I've got such a fast metabolism, bro. I can't gain weight. Like, it's almost like they're bragging about it, you know what I'm saying? But you'll find with a lot of these people, they don't really have a fast metabolism. You'll find that a lot of these people just don't eat a lot. They think they eat a lot, but when you actually go through what they eat, they have like a bagel for breakfast, a peanut butter jelly sandwich for lunch, and you know, they might have a little bit of steak and celery for dinner. They don't eat as much as they think they do. They might snack and nibble a lot throughout the day, and that's probably what their conception of eating a lot is, eating frequently, but it's only like 200 to 300 calorie meals. And when you add it all up together, you find out they're only eating about 1,800 calories a day. So for people like this, you're going to go back to that calculator. You are going to need to find what your maintenance is, and you're going to want to eat like 300 calories above maintenance on a daily basis. So figure out what you need to maintain through the BMR TDE calculator. Add 200 to 300 calories to your daily intake. This rule is most applicable for people who are new to weightlifting, where you start weight training and you receive novel stimulus, because your gains come the quickest within like the first year and a half of training. So you'll get through a lot of like your beginner gains within your first couple of years. And then what you're going to find is you'll find that the more that you cut, or I'm sorry, excuse me, you'll find that the more advanced that you get, the fewer calories in general that you are going to want to consume, because then more of that's just going to become fat, because the more advanced that you become as a lifter, the less potential you have to gain muscle over time. So what I consider the ideal ratio for bulking is 20% protein, 10% fat, and 70% carbohydrates. And the reason why you want your total calorie intake, a less share of it to be protein when you are on a bulk, is because you really don't need as much protein when you're in a calorie surplus, because you've got calories and fuel on the table. Your body's not in a catabolic state. So you'll come to find that you don't need as much protein. You actually want to up the carbohydrate intake. You still want to keep your fat intake to a minimum. And yeah. But the whole point of eating a high protein and a high fiber diet on a cut is to keep you satiated throughout the day, because you're going to be hungry. You're not going to be hungry on a bulk. In fact, certain people might find the need to force feed themselves in order to gain, you know, in order to get their calorie needs while bulking. All right, so let's go ahead and return to the third person in my little paint document here. The dad bod. Many people are this mode, including me when I started training. Should this person bulk? Well, not really. They're already kind of high body fat. Should this person cut? No, because they don't have any muscle to cut into. They don't have anything to show for it. So what should this person do? This person should focus on losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time, simultaneously. And if you'd like to know how you would go about doing that, it's easier than most people think. The more advanced you become as a lifter, the more difficult it becomes, because there's less gains on the table for you to make over time as you come closer and closer to your potential. But to lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit, and to gain muscle, you need to consume enough protein. So it logically follows that you don't really want to aggressively diet when you're trying to gain muscle in a calorie deficit, because your performance in the gym is going to suffer, and you need to focus on improving your performance and your recovery at the same time. So you're trying to balance two opposite opposing things at once. On one hand, being in a catabolic state while trying to be anabolic at the same time. So in a moderate caloric you'll want to be in a moderate caloric deficit with an extra emphasis on protein and recovery. So instead of trying to lose weight at a rate of, I don't know, 1.5 pounds per week, 1 pound per week, you might have to lose it slower than that. You might have to lose it at 0.5 pound a week, 3/4 pound per week. That'll have to be what you go for, because that's the only way you might be able to maintain performance in the gym. And sure, you might not lose fat as quickly as you would committing to a full-on cut, and you won't gain muscle as quickly as though you were committing to a full-on bulk. But 6 months down the line, the year down the line, you're going to only lose like 10, 20 pounds maybe. But the way you look, you know, down the line is going to be 100% better than the way you do now. You're going to have much more favorable proportions in the grand scheme of things. So when you are body recomping, you do want to take more frequent diet breaks. Because like I said, you need to focus on performance, and being in a calorie deficit tends to crash your performance in the gym. And unless you're on fucking amphetamines all the time, you're not going to have the energy to push yourself as hard as you can. So you're going to want to take one day during the week where you are eating at your caloric maintenance. You're eating at maintenance, and you cheat a little. You have a little cheat meal. You treat yourself to that bowl of ice cream. You have a couple drinks of whiskey. You have your cheat meal. You still want to have cheat meals. I mean, whether you're recomping or just full on cutting, you do want to have cheat meals from time to time, because it keeps you from binging and it keeps you from relapsing. Because when you're hungry all the time, it becomes, someone offers you a drink or someone offers you, a really delicious meal. You've been eating the stale, bland ass food for several weeks now. So for maintaining performance in the gym. So yeah, the ideal ratio for recomposition in terms of macronutrients are 35% protein, 15% fat, and 50% carbs. So you want even more protein when you're trying to recomp, because you're trying to build muscle in a calorie deficit. So you need even more protein than if you were just traditionally trying to lose fat, trying to maintain muscle and strength while dieting. You're trying to gain muscle and strength while dieting, so you're going to actually need an even greater share of your calories to be dedicated to the protein. Carbs, of course, energy, whoa, almost dropped my cup, and fats, byproduct of your protein and carb intake. Don't cut your fats to 0%. That will crash your hormone levels. Your body converts cholesterol to testosterone, so you actually need a little fat in your diet. I've done a zero-fat diet in the past, and, well, I stopped having erections, which is the reason why I don't do I don't do diets with no fat in them. All right, so here are the stages of dieting, all right? Well, first, let's talk about getting to 20% body fat. What I'm trying to lay out is a roadmap or a vision of what it's going to look like for you to get from wherever you are now to however lean you want to get, as low as 5% body fat. So let me go ahead and pull up some pictures of some people so 20% body fat, you guys have seen pictures of me. I'm closer to 20%. I'm actually like 17% body fat right now. But if you look at the thumbnail for this video, that'll give you a general idea of what someone who's decently muscled looks like at a higher body fat percentage, 16, 17%. 20% body fat looks more like this. Oh, here's the chart I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and screen share again. Check this out. All right, so anyways, 25% is this big belly, 20%, 15, 10 to 12. That looks more like 15% to me, to be honest. Oh wait, no, this is 25%. That must be like 40% body fat. But yeah, no, 15 is where you start to have barely blurry ab lines. 10 to 12%, you'll have visible six-pack abs and like some veins and striations depending on how muscled you are. The more muscled you are, the less body fat you need to lose in order for that to pop through the fat and be visible. At 5% body fat, you're going to have, veins and striations and rippling ab muscle. And, you're going to have basically virtually no fat on your frame. All that's going to be left is the essential fats used to cushion your vital organs. And the general rule for females is add 5% body fat, because women need more body fat, as, carriers for children. Women are, evolutionarily geared towards carrying more fat than men, and so for women, 10% is what's considered shredded, 15% is lean, 20% is average, or below average, but still fairly lean. For men, 15 to 20% is considered average. 10 to 12% lean, 5% shredded. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about getting to 20%. Getting to 20% is easy. If you're clinically obese, all you got to do is stop shoveling a bunch of crap in your mouth and start doing a moderate amount of cardio during the week for like, you know, let's say like a half hour, hour-long walk every other day, 4 times a week. Cut out the processed bullshit, cut out the McDonald's, just change a few bad habits and you can get to 20% easily. At 20%, you can maintain this while having some bad habits. To get to 15%, you're going to have to curtail those bad habits even more, and you are going to need to clean up your eating some more, and you're going to probably have to do more intense cardio to get to 15%, but it can be done. Now, getting to 10% body fat actually requires you to count calories, be strict about your diet. That is to say, trying to meet your macronutrient ratios and being consistently in a calorie deficit over a long period of time. But once you do get to 10%, as difficult as it is, it's a lot easier to maintain than 5%. Like at 10% body fat, you can still be pretty strong. You can still perform well in the gym. But at 5% body fat, your performance is going to suffer because you don't have anything left. All you have is the essential fat cushioning your vital organs. So when you're that lean, your hormone levels actually go in decline and your performance in the gym suffers. You're hungry, you're irritable all the time, you're not as strong for the simple reason that you're clinically starving when you're at 5% body fat. So when you see those bodybuilders who are all crisp and lean looking on the stage, who are that super lean, that's actually not healthy at all. And they're actually at their weakest when they're that lean. They're just doing it so that they can cosmetically appear as though they are, so they can cosmetically appear and, you know, show the muscles, show the veins and the striations, because that's the point of a bodybuilding show. But if you're 10% body fat, you're going to be plenty lean, you're going to have six-pack abs, you're going to have veins and striations and the muscle and so on. So yeah, but if you want to get to 5%, 10%, it's totally doable. It's all about how much you want it. How much are you willing to sacrifice to get to 5%? You know, are you willing to do 3 hours of cardio a day, never eat a delicious food or meal again for the rest of your life, consistently be eating 1,500 to 2,000 calories, and never drink again, never party again? Like, how much are you willing to sacrifice to get lean and maintain that leanness? I can tell you right now, it's not really something I would ever want to do. Yeah, I'm going to get to 5% body fat so that I can have striated glutes and lose all my strength and, you know, disappear in a t-shirt and, you know, have my girlfriend not want to have sex with me because I don't look like a man anymore. Doesn't really sound that appealing. So get to 10%. If you want to get to 5%, you'll look shredded all year round. You'll look like the human anatomy chart, but I feel like 10% is lean enough. So anyways, conversely, if you are 10% and you bulk your way and get to 20% body fat, stop bulking, you know, because once you push beyond 20%, now you're approaching obesity territory. That's too much body fat, which is no bueno, not good for you. And it won't crash your performance in the gym. You'll continue to get stronger. You're just going to look like a fat slob, and you're going to be at a greater elevated risk of certain negative health outcomes like heart disease, cancer, stroke, etc. So in general, 10 to 15% body fat seems to be like the Goldilocks zone for men, and conversely for women, like 17 to 25% body fat appears to be a more ideal Goldilocks zone. So shoot to remain in that range and you'll be healthy. All right, if it fits your macros versus clean eating. I am an advocate of clean eating over if it fits your macros, because for those of you who don't know, if it fits your macros simply means you eat whatever you want as long as it falls within your protein, fat, and carbohydrate ratios. The issue with this is that it's not enough to get the macronutrients that you need. You also want to get the micronutrients as well. You know, there's lots of vitamins and minerals in those fruits and vegetables that I keep telling you people to eat that are needed to maintain optimal hormone levels and health. I mean, it's in theory possible for you to meet your macros eating a McDonald's diet, but is that optimal? Is that healthy? And the answer is no, because there's stuff in terms of micronutrients that you need. It goes back to like, what is the quality of the carbohydrate? What is the quality of the fat? You know, I could eat 3,000 calories in bananas, and that's not really going to pan out the same way as 3,000 calories in French fries, because, well, one, the French fries are loaded with saturated fat. You know, it's the long chain fatty acids that increase your risk of stroke and heart disease. And not only that, but the bananas and the fruit have fiber, and that fiber slows the digestion process, which means the rate at which those calories enter your system. So because it doesn't hit your digestive process, or it doesn't hit your system as quickly, so it doesn't become fat as quickly. And if it doesn't become fat as quickly, it takes your body more time to break it down and burn it. So it's a lot easier to get fat, you know, on a diet with minimal fiber than it is one with high amounts of fiber in it. Not to mention the fact that fiber fills you up. So I mean, it's going to be a lot harder for you to eat your way to 3,000 calories in fruit than it is in French fries and Cheetos. So I would opt for the fruit if I were you guys. So stick with clean eating. If you're going to eat dirty, relegate it to your cheat meals, relegate it to your diet breaks. I take one diet break per week. Tomorrow's going to be my diet break. I bought a bottle of vodka. I'm going to be sitting on a boat and drinking vodka. How I spend my one day off work. Time. Hey, I'm back. The CIA doesn't want you guys getting jacked. Remember that. But anyways, let us go ahead and talk about supplements. So supplements are things you take that aren't really mandatory, but they give you a little edge. They give you like a 3 to 5% edge in your training career. And while that might not sound like much, it actually is a significant difference. In my experience, there are only 3 supplements worth sinking money into: whey protein, creatine, coffee, or caffeine, preferably in the form of coffee. So whey protein, it's just easy protein, quick, cheap, convenient protein. I take 2 scoops a day. It's how I get my first 60 to 80 grams of protein out of the day every single morning. You can find cheap jug of whey protein at any grocery store. I mean, try to get the unflavored stuff because it tends to be cheaper. And then you have creatine, which creatine is, your body produces its own creatine, but you can get it through eating meat. But the problem is you would have to eat like several pounds of meat a day to get like a significant enough creatine for it to improve your performance in the gym. And for those of you who don't know, creatine is basically like fuel for your muscles. It's sort of like the ATP in the mitochondria in your muscle cells that, gives you that oomph when you lift. So creatine can improve your performance in the gym. I don't really cycle creatine. I just take a scoop every single day. And then I go work out, do cardio, what have you. And then there's caffeine. If I were you, I would go with coffee, though. Coffee is the nectar of the gods. Not only has it been proven in study after study to give you benefits in the gym, like you're more focused, your mood is lifted, your body releases a dose of calcium, which allows you to move more weights. So it improves your performance in the gym. And if you're a lard ass like me and you're trying to cut, then you need to drink more coffee, because what it does is it blunts your appetite. The alkaloids weigh on your stomach and it blunts your appetite. So it helps curtail hunger and it gives you energy. And not only that, but it also has health benefits. People who drink coffee regularly have better circulation. Like, it doesn't actually increase your heart rate. What it does is it increases the strength of your heartbeats. So your heart beats harder, not faster. And you want a heart that beats harder. So it's good for your heart health, and it's also good for your colon health too, because people who regularly drink coffee are at a statistically lower risk for colon cancer. And if you guys know anything, cancer is one of the #1 killers out there. Same with heart disease. So good colon health, good heart health. You can't go wrong with coffee. It is habit forming, but it's a good habit, and it's very, very difficult to overdose on. You need something like 10 to 20 cups of coffee to receive a dangerous dose where you start getting heart palpitations and like anxiety and panic attacks. But really, like the ideal dose for coffee is like a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you weigh 200 pounds, I'd say get 200 milligrams of caffeine in your life before you go hit the weights. Don't bother with any other supplements. They're all a waste of money, waste of time. You know, the hardcore supplements that are hypercharged on caffeine and like other mystery stimulants and mystery chemicals that they pack in there. If you're gonna do any stims besides caffeine, just stick with fucking speed. Like not that I do speed, and I'm not telling anybody to do speed, but if you want something that gives you extra edge in the gym, like a super physiological edge, you may as well be taking speed or steroids. So stick with those 3 supplements. For long-term health, those 3 are the best. Now, let's finally talk about some exercise. Let's go ahead and get into the weights. Hold on a second. CIA when fascists train, I sleep. CIA when communists train, so you have chosen death. Truth, facts, logic. I'm going to go ahead and answer a couple questions before we get into the next segments. So this guy's asking, I'm 5'7", 183. I walk around 10 kilometers a day. Is that enough to get to 20? Well, what you need to do is pull up that calculator I recommended. Get the TDEE calculator, calculate your BMR, and calculate how many calories you burn in a day. And if you want to lose, you know, say a pound of fat per day, I recommend consuming 500 calories below maintenance. Figure out whatever it is you need to maintain your weight as is now, and then drop 500 calories below. And that should be sufficient to get you to lose weight. Another thing that I forgot to mention on the weight loss segment before we move on is the leaner that you get, the more difficult it becomes to lose weight over time, because your body sort of gets used to doing the cardio. So you have to improve your performance cardio-wise, you know, up the ante. So I try to burn 500 calories every time I go on the treadmill, and I'm losing weight pretty fast right now from it. But if I'm eventually going to get to a point to where that's not enough. Eventually I slow down more and more and I get stuck. And when you get to weight loss plateaus, that's when you need to re-examine what you're doing, and you need to, you know, increase the calories you burn. Like, let's say you're burning 500 per cardio session. Now you got to up that to 700. You got to increase and up the antes. So, okay, so we're going to get into this later, but in general, it's total volume, all right? It's total weight that you lift per session that makes you bigger and gain muscle. It doesn't necessarily have to come in the form of doing like rep work. Like you can do 3 sets of 12 or you can do 5 sets of 5 with a given weight. I would say you're going to want to shoot for like what's considered the Goldilocks zone in terms of like muscle building, which is 5 to 12 reps with a moderately heavy weight that you can handle. You want to focus on long-term progress, and you know, I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going to get into the rest of this document and we're going to talk about how you gain muscle. All right. So to gain muscle, you have to improve performance over time, and you have to improve your body's capacity to lift a certain amount of total tonnage over time. So if you have, you know, if you do 3 sets of 10 with a given weight, say 100 pounds, and over time you increase that to 110, 120 pounds, your body is going to gain muscle to compensate for the load that you are now lifting. And let's say you start doing another set, a 4th set. Your body's not used to doing that extra set. And however much volume or training load that you're used to doing now, if you increase that, you're subjecting your body to new stimulus, which will cause it to grow. What is considered stimulating for a beginner is like 2 to 3 sets. After that, there's a lot of diminishing returns once you get to like the stimulating amount of volume for your muscles, and you got to go on a case-by-case basis for this. But the general rule of thumb is the stronger and bigger you get, the more advanced of a lifter you become, the more work that you have to do to continue to build less and less muscle. So let's say you do 3 sets per session, and that's overloading for you. That's enough to stimulate growth. Eventually, it will not, and you'll hit a sticking point. Then, before you know it, you got to do 4 sets in order to stimulate growth, and then 5 sets. And then you'll get to a point to where you're like 90% through your drug-free gains. You know, you're a big, jacked-looking dude. In order for you to get like the last bit of gains that you can and like reach your true potential, you're going to find yourself doing like 7 to 8 sets per body part per workout to gain ounces of muscle per year. You're no longer fighting for pounds, you're fighting for ounces. So there's a lot of diminishing returns that goes into play there. I am an advocate, whether you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced, of full body workouts 3 to 4 times a week. Why full body workouts 3 to 4 times a week versus a body part split, where you break up the body parts over the course of the week, you know, chest and back one day, shoulders and arms the next, and then legs the next? Why would you want to do that over just training everything at once? Well, the reason why you want to train everything at once is because there's a lot of diminished returns in the additional volume you subject your body to. And the problem with body part splits is you can't get the same frequency in as you can with full body workouts. And the issue is, like, you can miss a full body workout and just go in and train the next day and you'll be good. If you miss a day and you're split, you're fucked, because it sets you back like a week, and it, you know, it fucks up your whole training schedule. The same is not true for full body workouts. Not only that, but like the muscle only grows 24 to 48 hours after the workout. That's when protein synthesis peaks and then tapers off. So you want to keep your body in a perpetual state of growth and repair, a perpetual state of protein synthesis. And the best way to do this is full body workouts 3 to 4 times a week. It's just, as you get more and more advanced, you're going to kind of be spending more time in the gym because you've got to do more sets and more work and effort. And like I said, it's all about what kind of body you want. If you're just training for general health, you don't need to do a shit ton of volume and take it as far as you can. You can gain a decent amount of size just being a casual trainee like myself. But if you want to be like a Steve Reeves or a Reg Park, or someone who really has a legendary physique that's like comparable to that of a steroid user, then you're going to have to put the extra work in and bust your ass. It's all wonderful. My connection keeps dropping. Anyways, the answer is yes, more reps and more weight. If the best way to put it is it's total tonnage. You want to think of it as how much weight are you lifting per session. If you're used to doing if you lift and you do 8,000 pounds per session, let's say, if you multiply the weight you use by the repetitions and the sets that you do, that is the training volume you're used to for a given session. This will put muscle on you, assuming your diet's good, until it does not. And when it does not, what do you have to do? You have to increase the total tonnage. So now 8,000 pounds isn't enough for you to keep growing. Now you might need to do 9,000 or 10,000 pounds. And this can mean doing more reps, or this can mean upping the weight, or this can mean adding more sets. It really, really depends. And we'll get into the rep sets and so on here when I give you guys my newbie routine. You want to be careful with that, because if you're not drinking water during the day, because as far as I understand about Ramadan, you aren't eating or drinking until nights. So by extension, I would save your training session for the night, or at least for the evening. That way, when you break fast, you'll be able to feed and you'll be able to rehydrate. Because if you train midday, you got to be careful, because I mean, it'll crash your performance if you don't stay hydrated. But at the same time, you know, you could dehydrate yourself, and if you're pissing brown, that's generally not a good sign. So I would say, if you're going to train, keep it relegated to the afternoon when you're close to breaking fast. If you don't have gym equipment available, I would stick with body weight exercises. You can progress through like doing pistol squats and like sprinting and doing push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups. And, you know, you can buy yourself a pair of dumbbells and do dumbbell training. I'm going to be talking about exclusively barbell training, but there excuse me, there are exercises that you can do with dumbbells and body weight and make decent gains. It's just with the barbell, you are going to reap the fastest results training with the barbell, doing heavy compound lifts. But the goal is to focus on progression. There is a certain point to where your strength training becomes endurance training. And if you're doing like sets of 30, 40, and 50, I'm not saying you can't gain muscle doing super high rep sets. I'm just saying in general, you want to stick between 5 and 12 reps, because moderately heavy weight with a moderate amounts of reps seems to be what builds the most mass, like what's most adequate for strength training. All right, so when you start lifting, you're going to want to focus on compound lifts like the bench press, the back squat, the deadlifts, the barbell row, the chin up with weights, and the overhead press. And if you guys want to find a good channel that'll give you good tutorials on how to do all this, I would highly recommend you check out Alan Thrall. Alan Thrall, he's got tutorials for all the basic lifts. You can just type in, YouTube, Alan Thrall, weightlifting tutorial, deadlift tutorial, squat tutorial, and it'll teach you the ins and outs of how to do all these movements. I can give you guys the tutorial right now for the basics. But I would say there are 6 essential exercises that you will want to prioritize long-term progress in if you want to max out muscular gains. And we'll talk about these exercises and their variations and why you should do variations in these exercises. All right, starting with the bench press. All right, so when you bench press, a newbie mistake is people will have their shoulders pressed forward like this, right? They'll have their shoulders like this when they're pressing, and they'll be like pushing forward. This is not how you want to bench. This actually puts your rotator cuff at risk, and you're shortchanging yourself in terms of muscular gains. So what you'll want to do when you bench press lying down, as soon as my camera catches up to me, is you're going to want to pack your shoulders back like this. You're going to want to have your shoulders packed back like this while you're lying down, and you're going to want to press like this with your elbows tucked in and so on. And you want to have an arch in your back, and this is how you want to bench. This is the most natural way to push. It puts minimal load on your shoulders, and it's what allows you to get the most out of your chest and tricep development on this movement. There are other variations you can do. There is the incline bench press, where you're bench pressing, but it's up at an incline. There's weighted dips, where I don't know if you guys have seen the dip stand, where you go and you do dips. That's another one of my favorites. I like dips. You can also do pause bench press, which is probably better because you're taking a lot of the momentum out of the movement when you do pause bench press, because it lands on your chest, you touch it for a second, and then you press, rather than come and you touch and go. It's probably better to do a pause bench, but you can do touch and go if you want. It doesn't really matter. You are going to want to do variations from time to time, mix it up a little bit over time. I would stick with the basics in the beginning, but add variations, 6 months to a year down the line. Just because, it adds variety in your training. It helps you address certain weak points. Like if you've got if you're weak on the lockout, or you're weak at the bottom, you can, do floor presses, you can do board benches, you can do, these different variations in order to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so one moment. Hey, Yarger 8971, lowercase. Guys, stop talking. I'm in the middle of a live stream. I'm sorry. Okay, so anyways, we've discussed the bench. Like I said, look up variations. But anyways, you've got back squats. You've got the bench press, the back squat, the overhead press, the barbell row, the pull-up, and the deadlift. I'll do some demonstrations for you guys just so you have an idea of how to do these different lifts. So back squats, you have the bar right here, and you're going to want your hips to be parallel with the floor when you do a back squat. So what it's going to look like is you're going to want to come down to, like, say here when you do it, and then stand up, keeping your lumbar fascia neutral. There are different variations you can do, like the front squat where you have the barbell in front of your, resting on your deltoids, and then you squat down. And then, you can do like lunges where you've got the bar like that, and you go like that. Different variations. But what I really want to stress is you guys stick with the basics. And then you have the overhead press. Presses are easy. You start here, you pack your shoulders back as you would with bench, and then, you have it on your chest, and you push, and you lock out. And you want to lock out weights behind your head. Sort of like this. I have hypermobile elbows, so, So pressing's easy. Start here, and then that with the barbell. Just imagine I have a barbell on my hands. Different variations you can do with that, with dumbbells. Like I said, there are guides online. Look it up. All right, rows. Rows are actually kind of a tough one. There are a lot of different ways to do rows. Needless to say, nobody does rows with good form. My row form is fucking terrible. So here's what a row looks like. Here's what a row looks like. So you bend over, you look forward, and you just go like that. And when you row, what you need to keep in mind is it's not just like pulling it straight up. You want to do it with some ass. You want to put your ass in it, and you want to like kind of like jerk the weight towards you, cheat a little. Because rows are not just a back exercise. They are a hamstring glute exercise at the same time. And you want to do bent over rows to facilitate your deadlift development, because rows serve multiple purposes, not just to build your back and your traps and your forearms up, but they also serve to build your glutes and your hamstrings. You can do strict rows if you're trying to isolate it, but if you're going to do strict rows, I would just go with the cables if you go to a gym. Now, deadlifts are pretty easy. With deadlifts, you just pick the weight up. You just like that, and then you set it down. The thing is, you want to be careful with deadlifts, because if you do them wrong, you can really fuck yourself up. You can, rounding your lower back is your lumbar fascia to be neutral when you do it. All right, anyways, so those are the basics. You want to prioritize bench press, back squat, barbell rows, deadlifts, and chin-ups, and overhead press. If you do and prioritize these 6 lifts over the course of your training, you'll pretty much build like a good physique all around. So with that being said, let's talk about isolation. So you have isolation exercises that you can do as well. You've got curls and tricep extensions. You've got curls you can do. You've got calf raises. Just the reason why you want to do isolation is to facilitate and improve your performance on the compound lifts, as well as touch up on your weak points, because people have different proportions. We all have different bodies, and some people are like more torso dominant. Some people, they're more limb dominant. I have long limbs, so it's helpful when I deadlift. I have a pretty strong deadlift, but it's a pain in the ass when you bench press, because when you have long arms, you have to push the weight further. So it means, you're predisposed to have a harder time having a very strong bench press. Guys with big barrel torsos naturally and short arms are going to be gifted to benching. So yeah, long limbs tend to help you better with pulling, short limbs with pushing. So it's just the way the good Lord made us. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about isolation some more. So whenever you do isolation, you really want to focus on the contraction of the lift, or the movement. You really want to build kind of a mind-muscle connection where you really focus on the contraction. of wherever you're trying to target. So you're going to want to use a weight, a humble weight that you can handle. You're not trying to ego lift here. This isn't a compound lift where you're trying to move as much weight as possible with the best technique that you can. You have to focus on the technique of the lift, you know, focus on the contraction, because you're shortchanging yourself, you know, when you do all that swinging when you're curling, or when you're, you know, using momentum to do dumbbell side laterals. You want to minimize the momentum. This is weight lifting. This is not weight throwing. So some of the isolation exercises you can do. If you want to build good biceps, I say either preacher curls or incline curls. Seated incline curls preferably, where you lean back in the bench and then you do incline curls as such. And then you have bicep curls you can do leaning over in like the preacher curl thing. Make sure you get a full contraction, go all the way back down, all forward. I'm not really going to give you guys advanced tutorials. Like I said, you can look all this up online. But yeah, for biceps, I'd say preacher curls and incline curls are my two favorite exercises for isolation. For triceps, I say pullovers, lying tricep extensions, where you lie down on the bench and like you pull the weight over your head like such. That's what I like to do for triceps, like overhead tricep extension. Tricep push downs if I have access to cables. You know, it's not that complicated. Just focus on the contraction and moving more weight progressively over time with the exercises that you choose. Forearms. Okay, so forearms are an area I need to play catch up in. It's not enough. Like, you'll build deadlifting strength through the forearm, or you'll build forearm strength through the deadlift just by, you know, clenching it and gripping the bar as hard as you can as the weights get heavier. And that reminds me, when you deadlift, grip it like this. Don't do a hook grip, because put your bicep at risk for tearing. So don't deadlift like this. Just do a hook grip where you lock your thumb behind your fingers. It's going to be fucking painful, but hey, don't be a pussy, all right? A little bit of pain never hurt anyone. Anyways, so if you want to max out your forearm developments, you are going to want to do direct movements that, rather than isometrically, contracts the muscles of the forearm, because the forearm isn't just one muscle. It's actually several muscle groups. You have your flexors, the extenders, and the brachiodalis. The flexors are the muscle of the front, so like right here. They're the muscle group like right there. These are your flexors. These are what you use to close your grip. You know, you can see my forearms contracting as I do it. Extenders are on the front. They're like right here is your extenders as soon as my camera catches up. So yeah, you can see my extenders moving like right here. And then you have the brachiodalis, which is the muscle right here. This is the second biggest muscle on your forearm. The flexor group is the biggest. It's the little softball right here. And then the extenders are right here. You'll want to focus on all three. Extenders, just so you don't get carpal tunnel, because if you just do nothing but flexor work, you know, it's going to be bad for your fucking, it's going to be bad for your forearm health in the long term. So, I mean, some stuff you can do for extenders, if you get resistance bands, you can get little rubber bands, open your hand, rubber bands, work your extenders. There's other stuff you can do with your extenders as well. Typing on the keyboard. You just want to like do movements where you need to open your fingers. Movements where you close your fingers are where you'll get the mass. But if you want to train the brachiodalis, which is also attached, and not to be confused with the brachialis. So you have the bicep, and then you have the brachialis, which is right under the bicep, and the brachiodalis. If you want to kill two birds with one stone, in my experience, hammer curls are the best lift that you can do to get both. So hammer curls, wrist curls, and reverse curls. Those are the three variations that I prescribe if you want to build a fully developed forearm. Wrist curls, reverse curls, hammer curls. You can do group training once a week, twice a week. It's all about what kind of physique that you want to build. But anyways, where were we? I don't want to invite anyone. Fuck you. Calves. So there are two main groups, muscle groups in the calf. You have like it's hard to describe. Hold on, I'm gonna look up a picture. My calves are terrible. They're like my worst body part. Here's where we got. So you've got the ball of the calf, and then you have the side of it. So this is what your calf muscle looks like. So you have this group, and then you have the group on the side is the best way to describe it. So you have the ball, and then you have the muscles of the side, like right here and right here. Depending on your foot positioning will allow you to target like different parts of your calves. You know, so if you want to build the gastrocnemius. Anyways, just do calf raises, jump rope, go running. Calves aren't that complicated. They respond best to super high volume, shit ton of stimulus. That's my experience. Like, my calves were their most toned and defined when I was jumping the rope 3 times a week for MMA. So, you know, pick your poison. Abdominals, there's a lot you can do for abdominals, but like calves, in my experience, they're a muscle group that respond best to great deals of training volume. So lots and lots of abdominal work, sit-ups, crunches, bicycles. You can do weighted abdominal work if you want. If you really want to have thick ab muscles, do heavy weighted abdominal work. But if you just want to have like washboard abs, I would go for volume. Abs aren't that complicated. All you're doing is that. And finally, well, not finally, we have deltoids. Deltoids are the muscle group on your shoulder that are responsible for moving your arms, like this. This is what deltoids do. So overhead press hits them, but if you want to really have a balanced deltoid, I do recommend doing rear delt work from time to time because it's good for your clavicle health. And for this section, we are going to be talking about some exercises you ought to just do. Just, you know, you don't have to worry about this shit in the beginning, but as you get more advanced in your training, I do recommend adding some of these exercises in just for like long-term performance and like health insurance. That way you're not as prone to injury. So rear delt flies, they're easy. This is all you're doing. It's all you're doing. Easy shit. Or you can do face pulls, where you take a chain, a rubber band, a cable, and you just pull it to the face. This will keep you from getting rotator cuff injuries in long term, even if it doesn't really it contribute to your physique aesthetically. Another thing you really ought to do for not shoulder insurance, but more like back insurance, is hyperextensions, reverse hyperextensions, or stiff-legged deadlifts for volume, pumping up the lower back. Because when you deadlift, and you deadlift really heavy, your spinal erectors are going to get fried. And to condition the spinal erectors to be resistant to injury and resistant to really just overtraining them, it's good to do. You know, I was really hoping that changing my internet service would solve this problem, but evidently not. Long story short, you have this piece of equipment called a Roman chair. You can grab a 45-pound plate, you lean in it, and you just do this. You lean it like that. You just lean back, forth, while in a Roman chair. Easy shit. A lot of this stuff requires you to get a gym membership. If I were you guys, I would just save up a few $1,000s and then drop like $1,000 on all your own equipments. I have all my own equipment in the garage. I have a gym membership now, but the only reason is because they have a treadmill and a punching bag, which are 2 things that I need. Anywho, where were we? So, damn, I forgot to talk about which muscle groups get trained by the Big Six. So, returning to the Big Six briefly, bench press trains chest and triceps, back squats trains your thighs, Overhead press trains shoulders, rows train your whole back, pull-ups train your lats and biceps, deadlifts train your whole back and like, well, 70% of the muscles in your body. So we're at the hour mark. I think this is a good mark to start and making the ideal training program. So why don't we open up a notepad, and I'm going to show you guys what a good novice scheme is. And I'm probably going to go through this video and timestamp everything at a later date, but for now, let's go ahead and screen share. All right, cool. So you guys see the notepad document, right? Okay, sweet, good. So you have 2 days, your A day and your B day. And I'm probably going to link this in a pinned comment at a later date. But so here's your schedule is you do A, B, A, X, X, B, A, B, X, X. So this is what like a novice beginner program looks like. You have A, B, A, B, A, B. These X's represent off days. Do cardio on your off days and do weight training. Your A day, the exercises on your A day and the exercises on your B day, you know, on your off or on your training days. So let's start with your A day. Back squats. I don't care what your excuse is, unless you have a medical reason not to be squatting. If you are a regular healthy person who has regular healthy joints, you're young, you're in the fullest of your health, you have no reason not to be doing squats, all right? You are going to be fucking squatting on my program. You are going to be doing back squats, you are going to be doing bench presses, and you are going to be doing bent over rows. And what you are going to be doing is 3 sets for each of them. 3 sets. You're going to do a warm-up set if need be, and you are going to do 5 to 10 repetitions on each of them. All right, so you're going to pick your weight. You're going to do 5 to 10 repetitions on each of them, and you are going to focus on progress through repetitions. Pick a weight you can do roughly 6 or 7 reps with. You do 5 reps with that weight, and you work your way to 10 reps over time. You know, so let's say you're doing 3 by 5. Next session, try to get 6 on your sets. Try to get to 7 and then 8. Every session you try to progress, and eventually you get to the point to where you're doing 3 clean sets of 10. And when you get to that point, increase the weight by 20%, 30%, and reset the weight to 5. You know, add 20 to 30 pounds to your lift, start doing 3 by 5 again. Rinse and repeats. Man, no one gives a fuck about this stream. I've only got 5 viewers. Okay, so on these days, you are doing deadlifts, overhead press, and chin-ups. So your legs are largely going to be covered through the deadlift, but your back is going to be totally fucking fried by the end of it, which is why you're going to be doing chin-ups. If you can't do chin-ups, I would stick with a lat pull-down machine, or I would get a chair and I would put my foot on the chair and use my leg to assist me when doing the chin-ups. But the goal is to build yourself to a point to where you can do chin-ups relatively easily with your body weight. Once you get from 5 reps to 10 reps over time, you can start adding weight, putting a dumbbell between your thighs, or increasing your, you know, repetitions over time. But the goal is progress. You always want to focus on progress. So, are we done? The answer is no. We are going to add some assistance work. So on this beginner program, you are going to be doing these exercises right here, these 3, and then you are going to be doing your isolation work along the way. And of course, you can take this routine and expand it, add to it, This is just a template that I'm providing you guys of what a good beginner routine looks like. But let's look at what might be lacking. Your thighs are getting hit. Your back and your spinal erectors and your traps are getting hit. Your chest is getting hit. But you know what isn't getting hit is your shoulders. So we're going to add some dumbbell overhead press. And we're going to do 3 sets. But this time, since it's an assistance lift, we're not trying to prioritize heavy weights. We're going to do 8 to 12 repetitions. You guys see the logic? You see how much of a fucking brainiac I am with this shit? Whoa, I just added a lift, to cover triceps. And now we got 2 pushing exercises. We have dumbbell overhead press, bench press. So we have 2 exercises or 6 sets of indirect tricep work. So does it logically follow that we necessarily need tricep work? Not necessarily, because at your novel training level, at your novice stimulus level, you don't need to do any direct tricep work just yet. So what we could use here is a curl. So let's add a dumbbell curl as well. Woo, you see that? And like that, we just got biceps out of the way. All right, cool. So we got our curls and our dumbbell overhead press, but I'm feeling like this routine's still kind of lacking. What do you guys think I could use? Let's do some abdominals. Like I said, abdominals are one of those exercises, and this can be whatever the fuck you want. You want to do ab wheel rollouts, you want to do hanging leg raises, you want to do crunches, you take the pick. Whatever the abdominal exercise is that you want to do, you can do it, and you can do it right here. Woo-loo, you got abdominals out of the way, all right? And if you care to train about your calves, you can add some calf raises. And then you can do that for 3 sets to failure, or for a shit ton of repetitions, focusing on progress, of course. You can do sets of 30, 40, 50. The point is you get that burn in, you bust your fucking ass doing as many reps as you possibly can, and you build yourself a nice set of abs and a nice set of calves. You know what I'm saying? So this is a good, decent, wholesome beginner routine. You should be resting. If it takes you longer than 3 minutes to recover between sets, you're probably using too much weight. I would say on the major big 3 that you're prioritizing this session, you should rest no longer than 2 to 3 minutes. For isolation, I would keep it to 1 to 2 minutes. So for these exercises, 1 to 2 minutes rest with the weight you can handle. And with these 3 exercises, 2 to 3 minutes rest with the weight that you can handle. Go by a case-by-case basis. Start by practicing good form. So I would probably start with the empty bar and just practice with the best form you possibly can. Like I said, there are guides, there are YouTube channels dedicated to this sort of stuff. Alan Thrall's a great one. There are others like Johnny Candido, Omar Isaf. Yeah. So that's your A day. Now you got your A day done. What about your B day? Okay, deadlifts. Deadlifts train 60% of the muscles in your body. They don't really hit quads that hard, but they hit your hamstrings, your glutes, your spinal erectors, your latissimus dorsi, your trapezius and rhomboid muscles, and they also hit your forearm muscles. All right? Then you have chin-ups, which too hit forearms, and they hit lats and bicep. And then overhead press, which hits your shoulders, your upper chest, and your triceps. So what are we missing from this? I think we're missing a little bit of close grip bench press. There we go. Now we included chest a little tricep work. I want to fucking kill myself right now. Anyways, close grip bench kills 2 birds with 1 stone. All you're doing is you're assuming the position on the bench, but you're just narrowing your grip, and then you're pushing. All right, cool. Biceps are already hit by the chin-ups. All right. So now we have some isolation left on the table. So let's talk about those back extensions. If you don't have a Roman chair, get a Roman chair. And if your gym doesn't have access to a Roman chair, find a gym that does. They can be hyperextensions, reverse hyperextensions. Either of the two will do. But yeah, we have these exercises done. But oh, wait, what about some more? Let's add a bonus exercise right here. Another compound lift. Not back squats, of course, but front squats. Front squats are an absolute pain in the ass. I absolutely love them for it. Front squats, you are not going to be able to squat nearly as heavy off the front squat. You might not even be able to do the bar if you start out. But on the front squat, you rest the bar on your shoulders instead of over your shoulders. Well, instead of behind your shoulders, you have them in the front, is what I'm trying to say. And so yeah, front squats will hit your quads hard as a motherfucker. They will hit your glutes and hamstrings as well, and they will train your back, and they will train, you know, your neck. The reason why I don't really include direct neck work in my training is because most people don't really need to train neck so long as they do like regular trapezius work, which is included in the deadlift and in the bent over row. The only time you should really be doing trapezius work is if you're someone who is genetically cursed with weak traps, in which case you're going to want to. And that's the point of throwing in the isolation, is to work on your weak points. My strong points include my traps, my back, and my legs. I've always had good traps, backs, and legs. Even before I started training, my weak points include my calves and my forearms and, well, my upper arms. That's where I'm always weak, and that's where I tend to focus more on in my training nowadays, because I want to bring these parts up so I have a better physique. So this is a basic template. In fact, I'll just say bonus work. You can do an extra exercise of your choosing at the very end. So this is the template. This is the blueprint for full body iron. Like if you do this routine, you know, cycling between A day, B day, A day. You know, this could be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This could be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. This could be Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. You know, I don't care. Pick whatever days are most convenient for you and do these exercises on those days. And where you see the X's, your off days, do cardio. You know, do 20 to 30 minutes of cardio. Cardio indirectly helps you in performance-wise in the gym because the increased blood flow and circulation delivers more nutrients to help the muscles grow and repair. It helps you stay in a calorie deficit easier. You know, there's nothing but benefits to cardio as long as you don't do it excessively. So on that note, let's go ahead and go to cardio. I'm going to go ahead and post this in the, I'll go ahead and post it in the description later. But yeah, take a screen cap if you want. Here it is. This is my blueprint beginner basic training routine. Like I said, focus on, you know, a weight you can do for 6 to 7 reps, increase it to 10 repetitions over time, increase weights, reset, and keep taking this as far as you can. If you're in a bulk, you know, whether you're cutting, you always want to be improving. You always want to focus on doing better. And if you aren't doing better, then you got to take a look back and reflect at what you might be doing wrong and correct it. It could be, you know, and that's another thing I forgot to mention is sleep. Make sure you get enough sleep. Don't sleep deprive yourself. That goes into the recovery part. You need calories, you need protein, and you need plenty of sleep. Get yourself 7 to 8 hours a night. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about cardio now. So cardiovascular exercise, you want to do this on your off days, anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes, maybe more. If you play a sport, like if you were in MMA like I was, you can probably do a lot more. Like, I mean, I didn't really do cardio while I was in MMA for the simple reason that when you're training kickboxing and jiu-jitsu for 3 to 4 hours a day on the days that you don't lift weights, your training is already cardio. You know, when you're wrestling someone or when, you know, you're doing back, you know, your heart is going to be fucking racing. Anyways, so cardio, like I said, the benefits, the main benefits are it improves your performance in the gym because it boosts and expedites recovery, because it increases circulation and the rate at which nutrients is delivered to your muscles. There are health benefits. You know, the most important muscle of them all is your heart muscle. And when you do cardio, you strengthen the heart muscle, which reduces your chances of heart problems later in life. You know, improve performance, in sports as well. It also helps you get leaner. It, gives you a little wiggle room in your diet. So in case you fuck up, well, that's okay because I did this cardio. I burned those calories off. And it helps you be in a calorie deficit, helps you stay lean. There's literally no reason not to be doing cardiovascular exercise. So don't skip your cardio, God damn it. That's an order. I will come and I will find you and I will break you if you don't do your fucking cardio on this routine. So, okay, anyways, so there's two types of cardio that you can do. Low intensity steady state and high intensity interval training. Low intensity steady state means you elevate your heart range into the ideal range, but you're just doing cardio that, you can do in your sleep. You could be listening to an audiobook while you're doing it. This could be a brisk walk for some. This could be a jog for others. This could be a jump rope for some. This could be, an elliptical for others, but it's just, low intensity cardio where you're just accelerating the rate which your body burns calories. Then there's high intensity cardio. This could be sprints. This could be heavy bag work, high intensity, this could be swimming. This could be a variety of things, but it could also be work on the treadmill too. What the point is that you do hardcore cardio with high effort and high intensity for a few minutes at a time, then you take a break, do it again, take a break, do it again. You burn a shit ton of calories within a very short period of time. You elevate your body's growth hormone levels while doing it, which helps to protect your muscles from, going catabolic, and it improves your performance. And really, if we're going to talk about strengthening the heart muscle, high intensity cardio has been shown to be a lot better for your heart health in the long term than low intensity anyways. Low intensity, you can burn more calories if you do it long enough. High intensity, you can burn those same calories in 15 minutes. I personally prefer to mix the two, hence high intensity interval training. What I'll do is when I go to the gym, I'll hit the treadmill and I'll increase the incline. I'll max out the incline and I'll just set it to 3 miles per hour. And I'll walk 3 miles per hour at the max incline, and then occasionally every 5 or 6 minutes, I'll increase my speed to 7 or 8 miles per hour and then run my ass off for 2 minutes, and then I'll set it back down to 3, and then I'm just walking again, And every time I do those intervals, I'm burning calories relatively fast, and then on the high intensity intervals, I'm exponentially burning even more, Studies have shown that people who jog, you'll burn 500 to 600 calories on like a basic bitch jog. But if, you run 10 sets of sprints, 7 sets of sprints, you'll burn those same calories within like 10 to 12 minutes. So it's all about what you want. I opt for high intensity interval training, but really it's up to you. If you're new, I would maybe start with low intensity, but consider adding high intensity in time because it will be favorable to your overall shape and physique and performance related goals in the long term. All right, so let's cover stretching and yoga. You do want to stretch. You don't need to be like flexible like an acrobat or a ninja to be like a healthy person, but you want to be limber, you want to be mobile enough. Stretching can increase circulation, and it's good and healthy for your joints and ligaments. It's good for injury prevention. So you want to be nice and limber too. I'm not saying you got to be, like I said, an acrobat or a hardcore yogi. That's on you if you want to. I'm just saying, it's good to be flexible. It's good to it can only help you. It won't hurt you. And in fact, you might need to work on flexibility in order to do some of the exercises that I prescribe, because if you aren't flexible enough in the hips to squat down, then you aren't going to be able to perform proper squats or deadlifts. So you're going to want to work on hip flexibility if that's the case, or adductor flexibility. Just find out what your weak points are and work on them, and make sure that you focus on good form and, recovery. But anyways, yeah, stretching couldn't hurt you. Get enough sleep. Let's go ahead and finish with expectations and then the Ask Me Anything. Beware of fake natties. What is a fake natty? A fake natty is a fake natural body, surely not. Well, geez, what could be the motive for somebody. And I'm back. What's up? Fuck, I lost my tangent. Anyways. Oh yeah, fake natties. So the reason why people lie about being natural in spite of the fact that they're on steroids are because A, social media clout. They're trying to get them likes and that approval on Instagram because they're advertising a brand, and B, to sell more supplements. You know, you see this big, super jacked, freaky looking dude. He's like, yeah, I'm natural, motherfucker. Buy my supplements and you'll look like me. That's kind of the point. Like, they're not telling you you'll look like them if you take the supplements, but the psychological implication is there. Grifting, manipulation, and exploitation is very, very fucking rampant within the fitness industry, so beware. I am going to show you guys some examples of what a fake natural is. So Mike O'Hearn is an obvious one. He's like one dude who comes to mind when I think of a fake natural. So this guy, how I know he's not natural, I mean, just fucking look at him. He's in his 50s. He's super lean, cut and dry. Like, he's 250 pounds, 260 pounds at 6'3", 5% body fat, all right? This is an example of someone who is 99% certain on drugs. This guy is not natural. The way that drug-free lifters traditionally train is full-body workouts or upper-lower splits, but they have high training frequency and they focus on progress. Mike O'Hearn, on the other hand, he does body part splits 1 time per week. And if you're the issue with body part splits where you train each muscle group once per week, where you're doing, you know, chest one day, shoulders one day, arms one day, legs one day, you see what I'm saying? The problem with training like that is as a natural, you're only getting 2 days of training stimulus, so it is far from optimal. But that's the kind of training he advocates for. And the only time your body's going to have protein synthesis elevated to where you're growing several days after a body part is if you're on steroids. So that's the way this guy trains. Plus, he's bigger and more muscular than all of the biggest drug-free lifters on record in the pre-steroid era, which we will get to here in a second. So yeah, Mike O'Hearn's not natural. Here's another obvious one. Here's another guy who's not natural. Kali Muscle. He's an easy one, though. He's definitely not natural. I mean, just fucking look at him. A less obvious one, let me think. I think that's good enough. You guys get the point. The point is there's grifters out there that lie about being natural so they can sell you bullshit. And just beware the grifters, beware the false expectations they try to sell you. Oh, here's another one. I'm sorry if there are any women watching this, but no. Most women would not want to have a physique like this, but you don't have to worry about it because this bitch is taking steroids. You will not look like this without a shit ton of hard work and dedication and taking steroids. So she's a grifter too. She lies about being natural. I mean, it is what it is. I'm still connected, right? Cool. All right, so I'm going to assess some realistic body types that you can expect to get for men and women without taking steroids. Starting with the classic physique era, a fully trained man with good genetics will look something like this. So John Grimek is an example of like a guy. This is about as big as you can get without taking steroids. You would have a physique like that, and the reason why I picked John Grimek, this is pre-steroid era. Grimek built his physique in the 40s, which was an era before, you know, steroids were available to the general public. Steroids didn't become available to the public till like the late 50s, but this guy built his physique in the 40s. But yeah, this is like in general the kind of physique you can expect to build without taking drugs, and if you're training for maximum size. So here are a couple guys, like, you know, I think a drug-free trainee would be very satisfied with a physique that looks something like this. And then who can forget Steve Reeves? This is another guy who's like, you know, very good physique. He's got naturally broad clavicles, naturally thin waist and ankle joints, naturally thin wrist joints. This is another example of someone who has good genetics, you know, very good skeletal frame, who's peak human musculature. This is about as big as you can get without taking steroids, or another example. And a modern example of someone who's like average frames, you know, smaller guy, Jason Gallant. One more example. This guy's more modern. He's got a YouTube channel, Jason Gallant. There's a picture of him on the right. But yeah, there's another example for you guys. Here's a picture of him when he was in his late 20s. So yeah, these are just examples for men of what you can expect to look like once you've reached the end of your training career. Now for women, I can't really think of many examples for women. A good modern example would be like Meg squats. For women, I mean, all lifting weights and working out will just accentuate your more feminine figure and make you look like Wonder Woman, basically. Like the Wonder Woman look, where you know, you've got hips, you've got thighs, and you will build some arms, but women don't have the testosterone levels to build very big arms and shoulders like men. So you will pack on a little arm size, but that's a good thing because it will, you know, it will contribute to the overall proportions and tailor of your physique. Another good example for women would be Rachel McLish. Yeah. Not now. But Rachel McLish was like the first Miss Olympia. I don't know whether or not she's natural, but I'm willing to bet she is. Here's a... Yeah, so this is what a very lean, muscular woman looks like. Very lean, very muscular. Picture of her in clothes. But yeah, no, you'll have some muscle, but the thing is, it's only going to make you look sexier. You're never going to look like me by lifting weights. A lot of women are afraid that if they touch weights, they'll get like super big and brawny, but it doesn't work like that. Not unless you're injecting androgens. You know, if you aren't injecting male hormones, you're not going to look like a male lifting weights. So stay clear of the gear. That has been my TED Talk. Now for the Q&A. Ask me anything. Seriously, literally anything. Ask me anything. I'll wait. Do you think MMA should be more regulated so it can be as safe as possible? Yeah, I mean, it's already pretty well regulated. There's a lot of rules in place that keep people from doing like kill moves or the type of moves that can do like permanent damage. It should be very tightly regulated because, I mean, injuries are very common. It's kind of the nature of the game. You have two guys that are literally getting paid to beat the shit out of each other. So when you play a game like that, you're inevitably going to have people who come from time to time, you know, who get fucked up beyond repair, you know? You've got like, what, Muhammad Ali, you know, before he died, he had some serious brain trauma. You've got like fighters that have been mangled for life because of some serious shit that happened to them. You've had guys with busted spleens and broken livers. Yeah, it should be tightly regulated, and it already is very tightly regulated. I mean, but like all industries under capitalism, it's very heavily exploited. Thoughts on veganism? I think it's kind of so I have mixed feelings on it. For one, you're not going to get me to sit here and argue the case that a diet full of fruits and vegetables isn't incredibly good for you. It obviously is. My issue with the vegan diet stems from how difficult it is for people to maintain. And if we're doing things from a long-term sustainability standpoint, where like, because this is something that's going to be with you for life. You never stop diet and exercising. The whole point is to, you know, to enhance your life by eating healthier and cleaner. And this includes eating a diet that is sustainable. And based on the research I've seen, like as much as like 84% of people that go vegetarian or vegan end up relapsing. And if you have that kind of turnover and that piss poor retention rate from your diet, it probably tells me that it's not really that great of a diet for the general public. While vegan diets do reduce heart disease to virtually nil, and like as well as reduce cancer and a lot of other negative health outcomes, they do increase the odds of you getting a stroke, which is the #2 killer in the United States. So if you are going to go vegan, make sure you get your B12, make sure you get your supplementation. I'm not going to tell you not to go vegan. I'm just saying it's not a very easy diet to get everything you need on, and you know, it's not really a sustainable diet for the general public. So I would say having some egg whites and a little bit of fish and a little poultry in your diet isn't going to kill you, but if you want to, okay, here we go. What do you recommend for weight loss? Shit. I wish you would have, I talked all about weight loss at the very beginning of the stream, but all I'm going to do is reinforce what I said earlier. Go look up the BMR calculator or the TDEE calculator. Figure out what you burn in a day, what you need to maintain your weight as is to reproduce your current body weight, and subtract 500 calories from that, which is pretty easy to do if you include some more cardio in your daily life and you cut out the processed junk. Eat a diet rich in protein and fiber sources, low in saturated fat, low in refined sugar sources, and that alone will make it a lot easier just cleaning up your diet, doing more cardio and lifting weights. Lifting weights indirectly facilitates weight loss because the act of building and having more muscle boosts your metabolism. So rewatch the stream and you'll get all the nitty-gritty details on that. Okay, so I've had periods like this. I'm actually coming out of this period right now. I've only been seriously dieting for like the last month, guys. Like, and that it's really only in the last month I've lost like 10 pounds just because I've been eating cleaner and I've been cutting back on my alcohol consumption. The best thing you can do is just not think about it and just jump right into it. You know, like it's sort of like, well, anything you do in life. The first week that you do it, you're not going to be used to it. Your body's going to fight you. You're probably going to get sugar cravings, whatever it is delicious that you eat. But just what I say is completely change your shopping list. Just jump right in. Go in cold turkey, and for the first month, eat completely clean. Eat completely straight. Stay straight for as long as you possibly can. And then, you know, once you've gotten past the point to where your brain is wired to eat junk food, and you've basically forced yourself to you've basically forced and rewire your brain to desire healthy foods. You'll find that when you go back and eat that greasy junk food after going like weeks or months without eating it, you know, and eating lean meats, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, eating the way that you're supposed to eat rather than eating all this processed garbage, you'll find that you don't even crave it anymore. Like a lot of food that I used to eat regularly, like junk food, I think it's disgusting. Like when I'm at work, I get hungry and I forget to pack food with me. So I go and I see the vendor and I look at all this junk food. I'm like, this is all garbage. I don't want this bullshit. I want a banana, you know? I want an apple. I want something real, something wholesome to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, just hop right into it, man. Follow this routine. Rewatch the stream. I've already gone through all the tips and everything that you need to know. I actually missed a couple things. I'm probably going to do a stream in the future for an advanced lifter or trainee, but for now, I think it's important that you guys just stick with the basics. We'll go for about 2 or 3 more minutes. You guys got 2 or 3 more minutes. Come on, lay 'em on me. Lay 'em on me. You know, you think switching internet service would solve this fucking problem of my internet crashing like every 15 to 30 minutes while I'm live streaming. Get yourself some good music. Get yourself good headphones, good music. Whatever wires you, whatever stimulates you, whatever pumps you up. Get yourself a tall glass of coffee, get your good music going. If you need to look up pictures of famous old school bodybuilders and be like, yeah, I want to be a champion. I want to look like that guy. That's what I do sometimes. I'll look up pictures of Arnold on the internet and I'm like, I'm gonna look like that guy, but not on steroids someday. That's what I want to do. I want to model my body after Arnold. And it's not enough to be motivated either. You also have to be disciplined. Like, part of this is rewiring your brain to turn it into a habit. Humans are creatures of habit. You have to rewire your brain, and for the first month or two, it's going to be tough. But once you rewire your brain to basically to where it's just part of your daily routine, you know, like taking a shit at 9 o'clock or having a cup of coffee in the morning, you know, once it becomes ingrained as a habit, it becomes a lot easier to do. The more you train, the easier it becomes to train. The more you eat healthy, the easier it becomes to eat healthy. The harder it train, the easier it becomes to train hard. And the further along you get, you know, the easier it becomes to like keep up with it, you know. I mean, what to think of it, you know? A diet of potatoes, grains, and vodka. I mean, I'm not against the vodka part. I like the vodka part, Lord knows. I got a bottle with me right now. But, I mean, I don't really think much of it. I mean, from what I understood, they ate very healthy. They didn't really eat nearly as much processed garbage as people do in America, which is why their calorie consumption was like 500 below ours. You know, 3,600 calories a day is a lot of food, but for the Soviets it was 3,000, but it was like healthy food. It was like healthy grains. It was like potatoes, eggs, basic staples. You know, I mean, they ate pretty good. I mean, the glory of socialism. Rewatch the stream is what I'll say, but I'll go ahead and reinforce: to lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. To build muscle, you need to get enough protein, and you need to lift an amount of weights that is stimulating to build muscle. Do these things two together, comrade, and you will be golden. So 500 calories below maintenance. You have a cheat day during the week where you eat at maintenance, you know, diet break, train hard, train regularly, but most importantly, watch the stream, because I already addressed this. Oh yes, no, kickboxing will massively improve your shape, massively improve your conditioning. I was at my strongest and my healthiest last year when I was regularly doing kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, because you have the high intensity training loads from doing the bag work and from, you know, rolling mat on top of the weightlifting, you know, and I was weighing roughly 200 pounds with, you know, admittedly a blurry ab line in the right lighting, but I was a lot stronger and a lot more muscular than I am now when I was doing it. I highly recommend it. It'll make a man out of you. It'll make you tough. Just find yourself a good gym. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Soviet diet. Yeah, no, you can eat a diet high in grains. You just want to avoid like refined grains. Yeah, it's like refined breads is what you want to go for. You don't want to eat anything white, because white bread has had the bran and the germ removed, which is all like the healthy vitamins and protein, and it's like got these processed like unhealthy like fillers and substitutes in them that make them tastier and increase the demand. So eat whole grains. Grains are not bad for you. Grains are actually like really good for you. I'm not against a diet high in grains, not one bit. Just make sure you get your protein in, but then again, grains have protein. No, I did not, comrade. I didn't start lifting till I was about 19 years old. I've been doing it on and off for about 7 years now. I've had periods in my life where I've just fallen out of the loop and I let myself get out of shape. But I'm more motivated than ever before to get back in shape. Like, I want to get back to where I was last year and better. But it's a process. Like, over the course of your life, you'll just continuously improve. As long as you stick with it, you can never fail. Like, you'll get set back, but you will never truly fail. Like, this is something that's with you for life, and it is a very worthwhile investment. So stick with it. Anyways, so we're running about 30-40 minutes beyond what I wanted this to be. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk. You guys have a nice day.